Plato's view today on Fortitude Through Stoicism, and this is my 365-day journey of implementing the ancient philosophy of Stoicism into the life of this modern masculine man. But first, let's take a moment and appreciate Montana. I was driving yesterday, and I was heading to the client, and I'm early as always, following the Yellow River. Absolutely stunningly gorgeous, snow-capped mountains off in the horizon, and there's this wind in the road where there's a pull-off there. I don't care. I pull over, get out of the rental. It's a truck. I'm in the back of the bed of the truck, literally just filming the entire landscape. Now, Plato's view. Marcus Aurelius said, how beautifully Plato put it. Whenever you want to talk about people, it's best to take a bird's eye view and see everything all at once. Of the gatherings, the armies, the farms, the weddings, divorces, births and deaths, noisy courtrooms and silent spaces and every foreign people, holidays, memorials, markets, all blended together and arranged in a pairing of opposites. Ryan Holiday uses a quote from astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who was one of the first people to actually see Earth from outer space. As later he recounted in a letter, in outer space, you develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it. From there out there, the moon, international politics look so pretty. You may want to grab a politician by the scruff of the neck and drag him 250,000 miles out and say, look at that, you son of a bitch. This is also what they talk about in Stoicism, is taking that bird's eye view, right? If you really remove yourself from the problem, right? So let's take a problem that most people, anything minor, right? Somebody cuts you off in traffic, you get all emotionally rattled, F you, beep the horn, whatever. Now, me, when I'm flying over 36,000 feet, I look out the window occasionally, I look down there. Those problems, inconsequential. Really, truly. And the further you get away from the problem, the smaller it is. I talk about this all the time. I coach people and develop people, and they have all these problems because they're right here. But when you really step back and look at it, it's really nothing. And this is what happens. And again, this is about problem solving in Stoicism. We get caught up in our problems because we're immersed in them. And that's why therapy doesn't work. Remember, therapists get paid when you keep coming. The more you talk about your problems, the more you focus on them. And like anything else, it's what you obsess over, it's what you see, it's what you think about. So really, in Stoicism, taking that step back, and again, I get sucked into it because a lot of businesses, a lot of relationships, and again, sometimes the problems seem insurmountable, right? The mountain seems so big. But the further you scan out and the further you really step back, it's really nothing, is it? It's really nothing. And so that's why they say if something won't bother you in 5 years, don't spend 5 seconds on it right now. These are truly Stoic principles. Now, this is not easy, right? Especially if Stoicism teaches us to focus on the now. Listen, this is a work in progress. Some days I feel like I take 2 steps forward, and some days I feel like I take 3 steps back. But what's happening now is every time I have an emotional lapse, we'll call it, or I let someone get a rise in me, or I start lamenting on a problem, I'm catching myself and I'm realizing what's happening, so I'm able to make a shift instead of getting caught in it. So where I would honestly say is, yes, you're never truly going to be a Stoic. It's always the it's always the training, or always the the process. Fall in love with the process. But anyway, when you scan out, the further you scan out, you can't see those big estates. You can't see the tiny little apartments. Again, we are literally a bacteria on this planet the further you scan out. And so do you really give any consideration to the bacteria that's crawling around on the tabletops and services? No, we put some soap on our hands and we dismiss it. So that's what I encourage you to do with all the other problems in your life. Take a further approach away from it. Really step back. And again, this is not easy because we are in it and it's hard to remove ourselves. It's like quicksand. Once we get stuck in a problem, all we can think about is that problem. That's where the emotional control comes in. That's where the Stoicism comes in. Further away from the problem, the smaller it seems. Further away from the problem, the smaller it seems. And so here's what I tell, and again, I'm going to use Nikki. Nikki is one of my submissives. She's in my life, and she routinely gets caught up in problems, starts to overthink. And so we have a simple rule, like if you're going to spend more than 5 minutes on it, you check on me and we'll get it solved. Because she's inside the problem. I'm away from the problem, so it's very easy for me to make a logical, non-biased decision in seconds instead of wasting minutes, hours, days, or a life. So guys, on that, let's go out and have the most amazing day.